Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to this channel. So today I want to talk about the brief, I hope this will be a brief video, but I want to talk about the shocking details that have been released and have been happening of late here in Kenya, particularly concerning Boniface Mwangi and Agather Atuhaire. I hope I'm pronouncing her second name correctly. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on the shocking events that happened to these activists. These are East African activists. Boniface is Kenyan, probably one of the most prominent Kenyan activists to date, and then Agatha is the same for Uganda. Now, they had gone to Tanzania in support of the Tanzanian opposition leader because he had a court case coming up, and they were just going to attend it in support of him. But when they went there, they were wrongfully arrested, then they were abducted, and then they were held in detention for hours and put through long hours of interrogation and grueling questions and just weird things the entire time. And then it didn't end there. After that, for 3 days and nights, they were abducted, or is it kidnapped? Just, they were abducted and subjected to torture and inhumane, cruel, and degrading treatment. So I'm just going to play the video where they talk about what they went through.
Thank you for coming. I don't know how I'm going to do this without crying. I promise I said I don't cry. The last couple of weeks has been a big emotional roller coaster for me and Agatha and our families. So as you're aware, we were abducted in Tanzania by Tanzania security forces, and we were tortured. So when I came back to the country, I said that I will not speak until Agatha is found. And Agatha was found, and we're happy that she's back and alive, and she's here. And I said we'll share what happened to us. So when I went to Tanzania on July 18th. May 18th. Yeah, May 18th. I went to Tanzania on May 18th. We were going there as activists to attend Tundulisu's hearing, which was supposed to happen on Monday the 19th. And I was in the same flight with Mother Karua and other activists. There were 8 of us on that particular flight. And when we landed, 3 of us were separated. That was Mother Karua, Gloria, and Lynn, and they were deported. I was able to get into the country legally, and my passport was signed and stamped with an entry stamp. I went to my hotel, and I checked in, and I relaxed. And then on the 19th, like the early morning hours of Monday, some men came to my room, and they were knocking, and they were very violent in the knocking. And they were demanding that I go with them, and I said, I can't leave my hotel room at that hour of the night. I said, I need a lawyer. And then at 3:30 a.m., some lawyer showed up and said, oh, these people are police officers, you should go with them. And I said, no, I can't leave my room at night. Went downstairs, and I found the same people who had come at night who were waiting for me, but there were more of them now. There were about maybe 10, 12 people who were waiting for me. They followed me to the bathroom, and they wanted to arrest me. I screamed in the entire hotel and ran away back to where my colleagues were. They followed me there. They said, oh, we just need to take you for questioning. Where is your phone? I said, I don't have a phone. So they picked me up, took me to migrations, and they told me to write a statement, which I did. I was fingerprinted, photographed, and then they said, now we need to get your phone. I said, I don't have a phone. I don't know where my phone is. And they took me back to the hotel and reviewed the CCTV of the hotel, and they saw that Agatha came to my room and left with my bags. And that's when Agatha was arrested, taken to her room, which was ransacked. They did not find my phone on my laptop. They took us back to the immigration office, and Agatha was interrogated for hours, for about 2 hours without lawyers. We went there with 3 lawyers from Tanganyika Law Society, but they're not allowed where Agatha was. They interrogated her. Around 6 p.m., I got a call from the Kenyan ambassador to Tanzania, Mr. Isaac Jenga, who told me I was going to get deported from Tanzania. And I was like, okay, I'm happy to go home. Around 6:30, or maybe some few minutes after 6, some guy came who said he was from the state office or state security, and he started beating me up. I was being beaten at the presence of my lawyers and Agatha. He started calling me saying that I'm an inmate, I'm coming to destroy their country, and I'm a problem, they're going to teach me a lesson. And then he said that you're under arrest. So we were moved from immigration's office, me and Agatha, to Central Police Station, where we found a guy called, we later came to know he's called Mafwele. At the station, the beating continued in the presence of those 3 lawyers who said nothing. And they said we must produce our phones. When Agatha was being arrested during the day, they found her phone. So they had Agatha's phone, but they did not have my phone. I did not give them my phone. I didn't even have a phone at that particular moment, but they said that they're going to teach me a lesson I'll never forget. At that station is where they said they're going to rape Agatha. That guy called Mafwele said he's going to rape Agatha. We stayed there for a couple of hours between, I think, 6 and 8, the slaps, the beatings. And then the lawyers were chased away and were told if they don't go, they'll be investigated. And the exact words that guy told them, nyinyi tutapima uzalendo wenyu. And that meant that we're going to measure the patriotism of those particular lawyers if they did not leave the station. So the lawyers left us. And when the lawyers left us, they did not tell our families that we were being beaten and being harassed and being threatened, because Mafole asked me in front of those lawyers, are you circumcised? I said, I'm circumcised. I said, we're going to circumcise you again. So there's a lot of threats and beatings. I was the only one being beaten at that station. They did not attach Agatha. So when we were there, they kicked us out of the room, and I said, I want to go to the bathroom. So someone took me to the bathroom. The young man who took me to the bathroom told me, these guys are going to hurt you, and they're going to hurt you so bad. Give them your phone. I said, I don't have my phone. And my fear was, because we had gone to Uganda, Tanzania rather, with many other activists. And if I lose my phone, if they get my phone, they get hold of everyone that was talking to in the country. So I could not give it my phone or my laptop. So I went back. When I went back I went to the bathroom, came back, and we were told to wait outside. Mafole made a phone call to someone, and a few minutes later, some guys came, 6 or 7 of them, very mean-looking people with one lady. It was like, Dar es Salaam is very hot, but they were all wearing half jackets. They were smelling of alcohol. They looked so evil. They took us downstairs to the car, and we were blindfolded and handcuffed on the back. And it was a white Land Cruiser. At the back, there were like a lot of sticks and a lot of fake number of number plates in that car. The guy across me had an AK-47. They were all in civilian clothes, and they drove off. Then they took us, drove for about 20 minutes. Then they took us to a building, to this place where they went to torture us. When you go there, they told me to get off the car, came out, and then they banged the door on my face. I had a mark here, I don't know if it's still there. I don't know what they were waiting for. I think they were putting some things ready. They got me out. I was still handcuffed and blindfolded, and they told me to strip naked. And I stripped naked. When I stripped naked, they removed my handcuffs, and then I was grabbed by about 4 men, and they lifted me up so fast. Before they lifted me, actually, they put some gloves on my hands. Then they lifted me up. They lifted me up and tied me upside down. There's a photo I saw online about what they did to us. It's in my bag. We can distribute when I'm done talking. So we were put on an upside position where my legs were up like this. My body's up. I'm stuck naked. And then they started beating my feet. So they would beat me and massage my feet. Beat me and massage my feet. I was screaming so hard. I couldn't even, there was no tears coming out because of how painful it was. And one of them said, put his hand in his mouth. So they put my hand in my mouth. And they would tell me, stop screaming. The kids are sleeping. And then to drown my screams, they opened the car because I could hear them. They were playing gospel music in the background. They beat me. Then they removed the underwear from my mouth, and they started questioning me, asking my name, where are you from, why are you here, who sent you, why are you coming to destabilize our country? And then they said, Wekamoto. So some guy put lubricant in my rectum, in my anus, and then started inserting objects. They insert objects and pull it out. Dude. Okay. They would put objects in my anus and then say you're feeling nice, say you're feeling good. Then you say Asante Samia, Asante Samia. So I say Asante to their president. And then they'll push hard and then pull it out again. I did that. See, I started bleeding. And they dropped me. Then I'm still blindfolded. They took me to a wall and then told me to face the wall and then squat. Then a man came and was putting his fingers in my anus and then saying that, say you're feeling nice, say you're feeling good, say Asante Samia. Then they would do that. And then they would do that. And then they told me to turn around, I'm naked. So all this time they're telling me they're recording everything they're doing to us, or rather they're doing to me. So they're recording this, they're teaching me a lesson. So I'm stuck naked. They tell me around, say your name, your wife's name, your kid's name, where do you live, where do they go to school? I'm naked. And they removed the blindfold and said, now, so when I'm answering these questions, when they turn around, when I'm answering these questions, they're just threatening me. So like when they're abusing me, they're saying I should feel good and say thank their president for doing that to me. Like Sema Sante Sana, Sante Sana. So they told me we have recorded these videos so that if you go back to your country and you say what we did to you, we shall put them online and shame you. And your kids will see this, your family will see this, everyone will see this. So while I was naked, they questioned me, asked me my email address, my passwords, everything. And because I was in so much pain and I was afraid they're going to hurt me some more, I gave them everything they wanted. Then they told me to dress up. And that's when they took over to go and torture Agatha. They put back the blindfold, told me to dress up. I dressed up, put back the blindfold, and then left me on the ground. So we spent the night on that floor. I could barely walk. I was bleeding. And then I could hear Agatha screaming. And one of the men was there saying, why don't you give me permission to rape her? Because this one is like good. She looks very nice. Let me just allow me to shisha muzigo, like let me rape her. So I don't know what happened to Agatha, but I could just hear her screaming. The following morning, on Tuesday morning, they came and they told us to remove our clothes and to go shower. So my feet were swollen. I could not walk. So I begged them to allow me to crawl like a dog so that I could go to the bathroom. I crawled like a dog to where the bathroom was. That's when they removed my handcuffs. So when I was stripped naked, I still had the handcuffs. That's when they removed the handcuffs and told me to take a shower. I was still bleeding, my stool had blood. And there's a man with an AK-47 standing there, like wearing civilian clothes. After that, they gave me fresh change of clothes. They were just insulting me and took me to another white Land Cruiser, still blindfolded, and they took me away. And that's the last time I saw Agatha until now when she came to Kenya. So that was on Tuesday morning. And then we drove and we drove and we drove and we drove for hours and hours until it got dark. I told them I wanted to use the bathroom. They said you can't leave the car. So they gave me a bottle to pee. I was still blindfolded and handcuffed. Then eventually at night, I don't know where we ended up to. They took me to a room where they left me there. They gave me like a soda and a loaf of bread. That was on Tuesday night. So I slept there. I could hear, it was like a coastal place because I could hear the call for prayers. And there was like a warmth and a lot of mosquitoes. Spend the night there. They just come, insult me or kick me and go. Come, insult me, kick me and go. And then on Wednesday morning, they gave me they gave me a cup of tea and an andazi. Then that Wednesday during the afternoon, their tone changed. They said, now we're going to let you go, but we're going to let you go with on your kali, which means like a stern warning. That if you leave this country, you should never come back or we'll kill you. If you go to your country and say what we did to you, we'll find you and we'll kill you. And you should never come back. So they said, do you want to eat? I said, I don't want food. I didn't have an appetite. The other thing is that because every time I wanted to go to the bathroom, they'd actually go there and stand by me like they're inspecting my stool. So I didn't have any privacy. And the only time the handcuff came up is when I went to the bathroom. But the blindfold never came out. So that afternoon, they gave me a painkiller. Then on Wednesday evening, they told me now you have to learn how to walk because I could barely walk. So they told me to remove. I was wearing open shoes, took me outside. 4 officers surrounded me. They're all in civilian clothes. They stood there, removed the blindfold, said, now you have to walk and make sure you try and step your feet on the ground. Step your feet. Said, we're going to let you go, but don't ever come back in this country. So they taught me how to try and walk. They made me walk for like half an hour. I said, that's enough. And then the following morning, on Thursday morning, they woke me up so early. Maybe around 4:35 a.m. They put my things in the car, put me in the car, and then drove for like an hour. Stopped briefly, and then when they stopped briefly, they spoke outside, then drove again, then stopped again. Then told me, you're going to drop whatever you're going to drop. You don't open your eyes, don't turn back, don't look at us until you leave. So they told me, Lala Chini. They kicked me out, slept there on the floor, on the side of the road. And then when I opened my eyes, there was a Boda Boda guy waiting for me. I think they'd already done a deal with the Boda Boda guy. That Boda Boda guy drove me to the border, which aligned was the Horo border, the Tanzania-Kenya border. When they released me, they gave me 20,000 Tanzanian shillings and 400 Kenya shillings. They said that's your transport. And so at the border, I got someone who helped me push my bag, and I gave them the money, the 20,000 Tanzanian shillings. And then he helped me cross over. Then I used the money to take a border and call my wife. When we went to Tanzania, we went there as friends of Tundu Lissu and friends of Tanzanians. I'm an East African, I have an East African passport. and I'm allowed to travel freely within the region, because that's the deal we are. Like we're a regional bloc. I did not go to that country illegally, and I did not commit a crime, and that's why they did not take me to any court. So I was able to come back to this country. But when I came back, and when I go to the airport here in Nairobi, I asked the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and which is the same thing that I'm asking today. I said I was going to the hospital, and I wanted my medical report to be public of what they did to us, and I'm going to share the medical report today, and it's going to be circulated, because I'd like the world to know of the very heinous things they did to us, to break us. And they did that to silence us and to put fear on us. And it's something that we learned, that most Tanzanian activists go through similar things. They arrest you, and they take you through sexual torture and tell you if you speak, you're going to humiliate you to your family and all that. And it's what they did to us is it breaks me. I'm not the same, but I know I'm going to heal. And I want to share this because we have decided we should not be silenced, and we should let the world know what happened to us. Yeah, so my government let me down. My government sided with Suluhu's government and said we're interfering with Tanzanian politics. We were not interfering in Tanzanian politics. We went there as visitors, and we did not hide the reasons for our visit. So that's why we're here. So we're here to share our story and to say that our bodies might be broken, but our spirits are strong. Forgive my tears. It's just that, man, my heart is not good, man.
Get Boniface out. They increased the volume of the car. At first I didn't know what that was for, but of course I am scared until I started hearing Boniface scream. So they had increased the volume so that I don't hear him. But the pain they were inflicting on him was too much. I started hearing him scream. So I know that we are finished here for no reason. And for me, that was, I think, my biggest problem and cause of anger. What have we done? Like, you don't know whether the crime is that you have come into Tanzania. You don't know whether there's nothing. Or that you have attended a public court hearing. So after a while, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, they come for me. The woman that they brought orders me out, but they had taken us in saying things that you could tell these are real killers, really. Orders me out. I am blindfolded. I can't see. She's ordering. I don't know where I'm going. So one man pulls me, throws me. There's another one I fall into. They also move me just a bit. And I get there, and the first order is take off your clothes. Before you do anything, there's one who hits me with something on the back, and there's one who violently takes off all my clothes. They take off all my clothes. They throw me down. They handcuff me. You will see some of They handcuff me, but they tried to put a sweater before the handcuffs. So I think the injuries here would have been worse, but there's this, then there is this. They handcuff me, they tie my legs with my arms on my legs. They face me up. They put like the wood in between the legs and the arms and hold me up facing down. So you see, the reason I'm not standing well is that the feet have not been standing. So I am facing up like this. There's one hitting under my feet so badly. The pain was too much. And there's one shoving something in my ass. So that is rape by all standards. And the pain, I don't know which pain was worse. So the feet, I am screaming so hard, and I am screaming, and they bring something to cover my mouth. And they shove whatever, I didn't know at that point what they were shoving, and the pain is unbearable. So I think after like 5 minutes of that, but it could have been longer, they put me down. They violently pull that wood they had between. So I don't know if you've gotten that sort of position, that your arms are with your legs and you're like this. So I think there were two people that were holding that wood. So they pull it out. It's the one that must have hurt me here. My arm is still paining. It has been swollen. And they put me down. They pour water all over me. And, they are saying all dehumanizing words. And they make me stand here. And now they take off the blindfold. So there's one talking to me. And I can't see, and saying, I'm going to ask you questions. I want you to answer me. The others, now is when I see that there are like 5 men. Plus the one here making them like 6. The others are filming. So they are filming and they ask me, what did you come to do in Tanzania? I tell the truth like I'd been telling it, that I'd come to attend a court case, also to visit a few friends. They say, who are your friends? I said, I have many friends in Tanzania. It's not the first or even the second or third time I've been to Tanzania. But who are your friends? They said, one of them is Generali. Said, so who else did you plan with to come? I said, actually, a couple of us, including even Martha Karua. So we wanted to come and attend the court hearing of Tundu Lissu. Okay, that's what I remember. There was more, but that's what I remember. So as they're still filming, he turns me around again. Now that's when I saw what he was shoving under my ass. It was a fist. So he shoves it under again, enough to get shit out of you and smear it on you as they film. You know, for me, rape has, for all time immemorial, been a weapon of war. The biggest way in which it is a weapon is that they use it as shame to the victims. But me, I refuse to be the ashamed one. Yet you are the one committing heinous, shameful, the most evil crimes. So they are saying what you say here. If you ever say it, we have this video, and I am thinking the video will help us with evidence against you anyway. But of course, you, in this anger, you are saying, okay, I mean, in this fear. And
Chapter 4 of the Constitution of Kenya, the Bill of Rights, Article 25. Despite any other provision in this constitution, the following rights and fundamental freedoms shall not be limited. A. Freedom from torture and cruel, inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment. B. Freedom from slavery or servitude. C. The right to a fair trial. And D. The right to an order of habeas corpus, which simply means that you should be produced before the court within 24 hours of arrest. So what I have been seeing as the public reacts and responds to the release of all this information and us receiving back these activists that were held in detention, it's not even detention, that were abducted. We didn't even know if they were going to be released from Tanzania. All these things that they described happened in Tanzania, right? So what I'm seeing is a kind of response that is disheartening to begin with, not necessarily from the younger crowds, but maybe the older crowds, because they're still thinking in that false perception of a tribal mindset. So what happened was both governments, the Ugandan and the Kenyan government, were both complicit in the whole scheme. They knew this was happening to their citizens. They did absolutely nothing about it. So the president did nothing. And the people are like, oh, the president is a Kalenjin man. Let's blame the Kalenjin tribe. The deputy president did nothing. So the deputy president is from central Kenya. He is a Kikuyu, so let's blame the Kikuyu. Plus, the deputy president is going around doing campaigns for the president. Imagine, this man has been in power for 2.5 years, close to 3 years now, and he still has to do campaigns. That means he's so unpopular, he still has to try and seek public support, which he is not getting. Anyway, so the deputy president goes to central Kenya, campaigns for the current president, and then he gives them free money, and the people shout in joy and jubilation. And then people look at the Kikuyu tribe and say, look at these people, these fools. They're also the same ones that voted in this evil regime. Let's blame the Kikuyu. With the president not doing anything and the deputy president not doing anything, they're saying that this is an issue of Musalia Mudavadi, who is the cabinet secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So they're like, this doesn't concern us. Go to the right official, right? Go to the right authority. So when people tried, they really tried. When people tried to reach out to the head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, he said that these people are nuisance. They are a nuisance, and they are going to disturb the peace of other nations. So let them receive whatever they're receiving. Whatever happens to them, it's their fault, right? And so obviously the Ministry of Foreign Affairs did nothing. It was only under extreme pressure that they then released this false statement saying, bring back our citizens. And this was after all the torture had already happened. So Musalia Mudavadi is of the Luya tribe. People are like, oh, Luyas are stupid. Look at what they do when they are given power. Then Boniface Mwangi also expressed later on, I think before he went to Tanzania, he expressed that his headquarters where he works had been attacked and ransacked by the head of the police force, Robert Ouko. And Robert Ouko is a Luo man. So again, people now turned to the Luo tribe saying, oh, look at the Luo tribe. They are so foolish. look at what they do when they're given power. And it's so devastating that even after all these years, particularly to the older generation, that they don't understand that the problem has been the same and it continues to be the same, yet they're not taking account of it. The problem has been the same since Jomo Kenyatta. It has never been different. It has never been about any tribe. It has always been about these two things: the elites versus those who aren't elite, the rich and powerful versus those who aren't rich and powerful. That's the problem. It's not any tribe. So the rich and powerful of any tribe are oppressing the rest of us, no matter what tribe they come from. And to me, it's just disheartening that after all this time, people still are thinking in the way we've been pre-programmed to think, in the divide and conquer type of mindset, you know? So they're looking for a particular tribe, but no particular tribe is to be blamed. The elites of every tribe are acting as one man to oppress the rest of us. Whether it's in Uganda, whether it's in Kenya, whether it's in Tanzania, whether it's in Rwanda, whether it's in Burundi, the entire East African bloc. The problem is the elites versus the rest of us. And so the other thing that I noticed when they were giving their account of what they went through is, I don't know if you know, but in order for you to become the top of the top, in order for you to become the creme de la creme, in order for you to become the prominent anything, you have to first make a deal with the devil. And people think that people say these things, the celebrities in Hollywood say these things as a joke, and they only see it to, create intrigue and fascination around them. But that's not the case. They are speaking the truth. In order for them to reach those higher ranks in entertainment, in politics, in banking, in business, in even the medical field, in the tech world, in everything, you have to first make deals with the devil. And in order for you to make a deal with the devil, your blood is required, but not the kind of blood that you think. It's not your blood. I mean, it could be your blood, but it's in a particular way. And the first thing that they would like you to do, if you will rise in ranks, right? There's the first sacrifices, the second. Satan keeps on demanding more and more. The more power you want, the more influence you want, the more sacrifices you have to give to the devil. So what usually happens to them is that the first and primary sacrifice, ritualistic sacrifice, is that you get sodomized by I don't know how many people, but you do get sodomized. And then the blood that comes out from your backside and the feces and the pus and everything that comes out from you, that is what is collected. And then it is poured out to the Baphomet image, to the Baphomet idol. All right. And if you're wondering who is this who does all this sodomy, Satan has his own physical priests. He has his own human beings who are his physical priests. And they are the same ones that sodomize these people who want power and fame and influence and, impact and to be iconic. They are the ones that sodomize them to exhaustion until feces and blood comes out. And then when this stuff comes out, they are smeared with the same things all over their bodies, all over their faces. Sometimes they are tortured and tormented and then sodomized. And then after all that is done, after all the bodily fluids, including blood, is collected and poured to the image of the Baphomet, then they are told, you will become what you want to become. You will be the greatest rapper alive. You will be the greatest pop singer alive. You will be the greatest actress alive. Whatever it is that you desire, you are told it will be yours because you have made the sacrifice. Now, these are called ritualistic sacrifices because you don't just do them once and forget about it. You have to keep on doing them. You have to keep on paying your dues if you want to maintain your status quo, if you want to remain the most powerful musician alive, if you want to remain the most powerful, even pastor, even prophet alive. You do have to make your dues. And so as I was listening to what they were describing, I was putting two and two together and realizing that, oh my goodness, what they have put Boniface and Agatha through is what these same elites go through in order to rise in ranks, in order to become the elites, in order to become the best politicians, best in quote, the highest politicians around. This is what they do when they're making deals with the devil. And they also told us, this is now Boniface and Agatha, they told us that when this torture and torment was going on, they were being taped. And they were told, if you ever tell anyone what has happened to you, we will release the tapes. We will release what has happened to you, and you will be humiliated before your family, before your wife, for Boniface Mwangi, before your husband, before for Agatha, before your children. They will see all this that we have done to you. Agatha, in describing her pain and in describing her abuse, said that yes, she was sodomized until her bowels became loose and feces came out. But then the man who was doing that smeared her naked body and her face with the same feces. He smeared her with the feces and the blood on her face, and then continued to sodomize her and to torment her. And I'm saying these are the things that they do. And I'm not speaking conjecture. In case you're wondering, Jolene, where did you get this information from? These are things that God has revealed through the Master's Voice Prophecy blog. And Celestial has described these things clearly. Go and look for that prophecy titled The Sodomy Ritual. It's in 3 parts. And she gave a very clear example of what Beyonce does. That Beyonce, in order to keep her status as queen, as the most popular celebrity to ever exist, she has to pay her dues. And this is how she pays her dues. She is, actually the word that was given was, she is an occultic whore. That's the word that was given. She is passed around from one satanic priest to another, and she is greatly abused like trash. She is greatly abused, and then the blood that comes out from her backside is poured to the Baphomet. And this shouldn't shock anyone. Beyonce, when she's performing, you know your body is a temple, right? How you dress tells us who your God is. If you dress in scanty clad, we know that your God is Jezebel. Simple and clear. But what I'm trying to say is that when Beyonce performs, she's always wearing these swimsuits. They look like, I don't know what to call them. But she's always wearing those costumes that mirror the Baphomet. They mirror the horns. They mirror his face. You remember that Baphomet is a goat-headed god with a wide breast and a phallus. Wide hips, breasts, and a phallus. That's a double-gendered god. And so Beyonce always dresses herself in this Baphomet attire to show us who her God is. So let this not shock anyone. That woman has been bold and open about who her God is. The other thing that she has done as a generational Satanist is that she has inverted her children. And this is also another sacrifice to the devil. In order for them to mirror the image of their God who has both genders, they do this transgender practice. So they believe that in transitioning, for example, if you're a woman, in becoming a trans man, you get qualities of both genders. You get the qualities of a woman and a man in the same body. In that way, you mirror your God, Baphomet, who is a double-gendered God. You understand? And so Beyonce has done the same thing as a generational Satanist. She has inverted her children, whom she bought from Colombia. Blue Ivy is a boy. That's not a girl. And the twins are inverted. Whoever was supposed to be a boy is a girl, and whoever was supposed to be a girl is a boy. And so this woman has been open about what she goes through. About whom she worships. But now that prophecy was revealing what these celebrities go through, and particularly what Beyonce has to go through in order to maintain her status as the highest celebrity to ever exist. Something like that. And so this is what happens with many of these elites. That is the ritualistic sacrifice that they pay in order to maintain their status and in order to climb higher in ranks, in order to climb to the highest and highest and highest position in the society that they want, in order to amass as much influence as they want in the various fields that they desire. But the other thing that usually happens, and this was also revealed on TMV, is that when these people are making deals with the devil and they are getting sodomized and raped and all that, it is usually recorded. And that's how these people are kept silent. It is usually recorded on tape, and they're told, if you ever tell anyone of anything that has happened to you or anything that we have done to you, we will release this to the public. And if you're a macho rapper and you've been sodomized, clearly you don't want that released. And that's how they are able to keep these people in these satanic covenants, even if they want to come out. That's how they are able to keep them silent. And so as I was listening to Boniface and Agatha describe what they've been through, I was putting 2 and 2 together saying, oh my goodness, they put these 2 people through what they go through as elites. Okay, but it didn't work on Boniface and Agatha. They took the power back. They said, we are not going to be ashamed. We are not going to feel humiliated. For what? We are the victims. We are the ones that this happened to. Why should we feel ashamed when we are the victims? Let the victimizer, let the abuser feel shame. I will not carry the shame as the victim. And so that's why they came out and they spoke boldly of what happened to them. And you see, when they did this, whatever the elites had in mind did not pan out the way they wanted. You understand? Because they thought that the public would laugh at them. They thought that the public would humiliate them even more. They thought that by doing this, they would silence Boniface and Agatha and other activists, but it didn't work. And so when I'm thinking about this, I remember that I had done this message, Kenya must rise to repentance. And as part of the message, I said that I had a dream of political activists becoming even more tortured, like whatever they are going through right now. And I was speaking now from a dream that I had around August 2nd, August 3rd in 2024. And I was saying, whatever these political activists are going through right now, the abductions, everything, we haven't seen anything yet. The government will become worse. It will increase in its wickedness, in its intimidation tactics against these activists. And I was calling on intercessors saying, pray for these people because they are in grave, grave danger. And what I'm seeing now is because they are escalating, of course, with their intimidation tactics, it's intensifying. And what I'm seeing is that because these people aren't getting intimidated, they're not getting worn down the way the elites hoped that they would. I believe, at least from what I saw in my dream, and I had expressed this earlier, that because people will refuse to relent, the activists, the public, remember that the public is in full support of the activists. They are paying their medical bills. They are seeking to take these cases to a higher court, to the ICC. They are in full support of the activists. These elites thought that we are so stupid that we will laugh at the victims, that we won't support them, regardless. So because they're seeing that we're not relenting, I believe that it will escalate and become even worse to a point where it will now be a matter of two cases. Either you get murdered or it becomes a case of attempted murder if by God's grace you escape. And so I don't know if you also remember that this is the same thing that happened to Bruce Kajira. Bruce Kajira was yet another political activist, and he was speaking against his county governor in particular. And he was saying that the county government is doing nothing for them. The youths are greatly unemployed. There are so many gangs everywhere. There's garbage everywhere. The entire city stinks because nobody is doing anything about the problem. And so a few days after he released that video on his YouTube channel, he was abducted and he was gang raped by like 7 men. And he was told, if you ever tell the public about this, we will release it. After he was gang raped, he was put in a sack and then he was dumped at a dumping site somewhere. And it was strangers that found him because he was crying and crying and crying and calling for help. They found him. They took him to hospital. When they took him to hospital, he did not immediately receive medical attention. The hospital said, we will not attend to you because the government is looking for you and we don't want trouble. So the family had to find him there in that hospital and then transfer him to another hospital. And so the medical attention he needed became even more delayed, which, exacerbated his health conditions. And so for Bruce Kajira, they did release the tape. They released the tape of him being sodomized and him crying and crying and crying in pain. And but he also didn't relent. He said the truth. He said, it is this person who did this to me. And they were doing it to me to humiliate me and shame me because I'm an oppressed person, because I'm a weak person. I'm just a normal person over here in Mombasa. But I have refused to take the shame. I am going to speak the truth. And so the people are not getting intimidated. And I think that in order to toe the line, what they will start doing is simply murdering people. And it will be a case of either murder or attempted murder. And this is how they will try to keep the public silent. This is how they will try to tame the public in order for them to do what they had to do. in order for them to bring about the beast system of Revelation 13. When Satan rules, anything goes, okay? It won't be a matter of the Constitution. It won't be a matter of the Bill of Rights. It will be a matter of, are we preparing the way for Satan to come in or not? And that's what the elites are doing. That's what people don't understand. Anyway, that's a topic for another time. What I really wanted to say is that my call is the same as it was last year, almost around the same time. Keep political activists in prayer. Intercessors, if there's one thing that I want you to understand and to take away from this message, is that you guys are not doing enough. You guys are not praying enough. And I don't want this to be a case of us seeing the evil that is happening in East Africa, us seeing these people who feel like they are not answerable to anyone, but they are answerable to the Most High. Yeah. Us seeing all these things happen, and then we shake our heads in sadness, and we don't appeal to the Most High to execute justice. I did a message titled our purpose in Yah, something like that, and it's about it has is it a video icon? It has a picture of us joining hands with Yah, in the sense that I was saying that even though Yah has a purpose for all of us, he always does require that we pray that he fulfills his purpose. This is just one of his conditions. So we know that Yah is just. We know that Yah will execute justice, but he has often called and said that he requires intercessors to come in the midst and pray that he actually executes justice. This is just how his kingdom works. He works through prayers and petitions and supplications. So intercessors, you cannot be dull at this time. You can't just shake your head and not stand in the gap. You have to lift these people up in prayer. It's not a matter of whether Boniface Mwangi believes in God. It's not a matter of whether Agatha believes in God. It's not a matter of whether anybody believes in God or not. It's a matter of God being a God of justice. He is a judge of all the earth. We don't have power to take these people down. We don't have power to hold these people accountable. But Yah has all the power and all the time in the world to hold these people accountable. Pray for these activists and pray for justice to be executed. I know Boniface Mwangi will never see this video, but I have been lifting you up in prayer, and I have been saying to the Father, Father, remember your word, that you shall by no means acquit the guilty, but you shall punish the wicked to the third and fourth generation. Father, remember your word, wherein you have said that you work righteousness and justice on behalf of those who are oppressed. I have told the Father, requite the blood that has been shed throughout this entire regime, the blood of the Gen Zs that died in last year's protest. People really talked about the victory. They didn't talk about how so many young people died. So many young people died. The blood that has been shed with activists being murdered. Some of them are being murdered. The blood that has been shed through sodomy and rape of people who randomly get abducted. All that blood that has come out from them, Father, require it of the wicked. Uproot the wicked from the earth, Father. Uproot them from the land of the living. And I'm saying, intercessors, believers, you can't just not stand in the gap. Let Yah not say that he looked throughout the land and he found no one praying. He found no one interceding. And so when he finds that nobody interceded, you know what he will do? He will punish the wicked and the righteous, because you could have done something and you didn't do anything. It's not a matter of just looking and shaking our heads. It's a matter of us going to the throne of grace and saying, Father, we as a people reject this kind of regime. We pray that you uproot King Saul and give us King David, and we absolutely refuse to submit to the devices of the devil. This cannot happen to our people. Cry to the Most High, people. Cry to the Most High. If this thing doesn't shake up East Africans, I don't even know. I honestly don't even know. Anyway, that's all. So thank you. I'll see you next time.